Growing up playing the first 3 generations of Pokemon back in the early 2000s felt very different from how it feels to be playing Pokemon today. And that's not even because of anything from a game design perspective or how the games have changed over the years. There is just ultimately a lot more mystery about what was really going on inside of these cartridges, outside of there being like a circuit board and a battery. There were no dedicated teams of data miners who would tell us every possible encounter that's in the game within a couple days, and we didn't have easy access video sharing sites like YouTube, and not as many people had access to any sort of capture device, or better yet, a digital camera that could even focus on taking a picture of a Game Boy screen, because early digital cameras were terrible. So it was a lot easier for people to come up with all sorts of credible sounding rumors just by typing out random text posts. So any Zelda Mario fan 93 could hop on GameFAQs.com and type up a nice little rumor about how if you bring a Mewtwo named Mew3 to Cerulean Cave, you could find a Peekaboo. And people would look at that and be like, oh, that guy's uncle probably works at Nintendo. And they'd actually try it out for themselves. And you know what? It was actually kind of fun to try this stuff out, even if you had a good feeling it wasn't gonna work. These rumors didn't just start online too. In fact, some of the most powerful rumor mills in the early days of Pokemon were centralized deep within the education system, at elementary school playgrounds, home of the famous playground rumors. I'm sure every school had that one person. At my elementary school, it was this dude named Kyle, who would just come up with Pokemon rumor after Pokemon rumor almost every day. And he was lying through his teeth about every single one of them, but I would still always go home and try it out for myself, even if I didn't fully believe him, just because it was fun. And this is how I got my first level 100 Pokemon. This is how I got my first shiny, just trying out these ridiculous things that people came up with. And despite trying so many different things and never seeing anything happen, there were just enough crazy things that were actually true that kept me going with it. Like the missing no glitch, the Mew glitch, the truck in Vermilion City that actually doesn't do anything but exists, the fact that every single Pokemon had a shiny coloration like the red Gyarados and had a 1 in 8192 chance of appearing. The list goes on, and I could even keep listing things from more modern Pokemon games, because it seems to be a big part of Pokemon's design philosophy to have so many weird and interesting things to discover that most players might just pass up along their way on their journey. These games have so many urban legends surrounding them, and some of these things actually feel more legendary than some of the actual legendary Pokemon encounters we have in the games. The player character's often just destined to run into a legendary on the story. Every copy of Pokemon Emerald lets you see Rayquaza, it's on the frickin' box. Every copy of Platinum lets you see and find a Giratina. Every copy of Big Chungus lets you find Chungus. And every copy of Fire Red lets you find the legendary Charizard. No matter how much build-up they do to these legendaries, no matter how much of a crazy area they introduce before the legendary themselves, these cover legendaries just don't feel super legendary to me. While something that truly feels like a legendary encounter is something you don't encounter on your regular journey at all. Something you can easily miss. And that brings me to the main topic of today's video. My favorite legendary encounter in the entire Pokemon series. Regirock, Registeel, and Regice, yes I say Regice, and Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald. The first reason I love these encounters so much is that the existence of the Regis themselves is incredibly well hidden within the games, both to the player and to the people of the in-game universe. It always kind of bugs me when legendaries are out in the open, like how Moltres is only a few tiles away from an NPC who could probably catch it, but with the Regis, they're sealed away, and it really feels like you as the player are making a discovery and could potentially be the first person to find them in centuries. There are maybe 2 NPCs in the entire game who make any mention of them, and they don't even mention them by name, talking about a legend passed down by their grandfather. So the people of the Hoenn region know next to nothing about them. In addition to that, near the locations where you eventually do find them, there are 3 Ruin Maniac trainers, the only trainers of this class in the entire game, who talk about how they've been searching for answers for years. This all takes on such a different tone from just finding a legendary creature out in the open. personally, as the player, there were layers to how hidden these things were too. When Ruby and Sapphire first came out, I was 7 years old, going on 8, and I'd had very limited access to the internet, and we had dial-up, so it was super slow, and it would be months before I got the $14.99 MSRP Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire strategy guide that told you how to do everything. So I was left alone to explore the world of the Hoenn region and to find everything out for myself, because even Kyle on the playground had stopped playing Pokemon by the time 3rd Gen rolled around, because something new called Yu-Gi-Oh came around and took over everyone's interest. And one Friday night, I stumbled upon this little diving spot on Route 134 that led down to some mysterious writing. I actually kind of knew what to do here because I had read the instruction book, which very vaguely tells you that this writing might be Braille without giving you any sort of guide on how to translate it, which is kind of bold of them to do. And I recently discovered this is only in the US version of the manual, because in the European version of the manual they actually have the full alphabet. So I frantically ran around the house asking everyone, hey, do you have a guide to Braille? And my sister somehow actually had a guide to Braille. So we sat down that Friday night and started translating all of the Braille that we could find. After a little bit of translation, we figured out that this said go up here, so I used dive to go up, and I found the sealed chamber. The discovery of this place alone felt like the reward to me at the time. I didn't even consider that there might be some special Pokemon available here, because I had thought I had seen everything the Hoenn region had to offer, despite my Pokedex not even being close to completion. So we kept translating some more. We ripped off a page of the tear-off Dilbert calendar we had, which I still have in my Ruby box with their original translations, and we wrote down everything we could find in the sealed chamber, including the next clue for tracking down the Regis. First comes Relicanth, last comes Wailord. But we got it wrong, because I didn't know what a Relicanth was, and I definitely didn't know what a Wailord was. We assumed it was Wailmer, so we just wrote that without translating the last 3 letters. Both Relicanth and Wailord don't appear on a single NPC trainer in the Hoenn region outside of the Battle Tower. Relicanth only appears in the wild 5% of the time underwater, and Wailord only appears 1% of the time on one route, surfing, meaning they're kind of hidden. In retrospect, I'm still amazed that I made it this far by myself without any sort of internet or guides to help me. But I keep going back and thinking about how I thought the sealed chamber in itself was the reward. This little secret area with a little bit of extra lore. And then I got the strategy guide, which opened up a whole new world to this place for me. And the strategy guide's really beat up now if you haven't noticed. Putting a Relicanth in the first slot of the party and a Wailord in the last slot just sounded so much like one of those playground rumors that I had dealt with so much during the 2nd gen of Pokemon, and it was so rewarding to see something officially in the game like that actually unlocked something. Unlocked legendary Pokemon. And the whole experience didn't end there. And each of the chambers themselves, there's some ridiculous conditions that you have to meet in order to open the door and see the Regis. And to 7-year-old me at the time, this was cathartic. And there was truly nothing else that had ever felt that legendary to me in a Pokemon game. What made these encounters even cooler was after capturing them all, in a couple years, it would all pay off in the next generation of Pokemon with Regigigas, which requires all 3 of these Regis in your party in order to unlock. This was a cross-generational legendary encounter. And eventually in Platinum, they made the Regis catchable again, so you didn't have to transfer. But at first, it was an incentive for people to transfer up Pokemon from the previous gen. And I'm sure when Regigigas released, a bunch of people learned about the Regis being available in the 3rd gen games for the first time. And I just look back on it all, and I wonder if they can even come close to replicating that kind of feeling ever again. I really don't know if they'll be able to, because of how dedicated people are to uncovering every little secret about Pokemon as soon as possible. But in a matter of a few days from recording this video, we're going to be getting 2 new Regis in the Crown Tundra, and we'll have new encounters with the original Regis all over again, and I really look forward to seeing what they have in store this time. Legendary encounters really haven't felt all that great in recent years because there are just so many legendaries and they seem to just have a very cookie-cutter way of presenting most of them. But I'm still holding out hope that maybe someday something will come close to feeling as legendary as the original Reggie encounters. And if not, I'll still be enjoying some of the other weird secrets to discover in Pokemon games. But now that we're 10 minutes into the video, this has actually just been another intro to a shiny video that got super out of hand, like my Phalanx video from last year. Back in July, there was a new shiny hunting event in the community called the Week of Legends, started by a shiny hunter named Precision and some of his friends. And the whole goal of this was for everyone to just hunt legendaries for a week. And I decided that I would go back to my favorite legendary encounters and hunt all 3 Regis at the same time, just to see which one would shine first. I only found 1 shiny during the week, so I plan on going back and completing the trio soon. But for now, enjoy the shiny Reggie that I found during the Week of Legends. Shiny Registeel! Oh my gosh! Shiny Registeel! Oh my gosh! That looks so cool! I noticed that right away. Oh man, I was just like, wait, that looks different. Oh man, that's my first shiny on an IPS screen SP. That came after 6,225 soft resets. As you can see, there is no cheating device, just a Pokemon Ruby in here. So cool. Alright, I'm back from taking a snap of it and stuff. This is my first shiny on an IPS screen SP. I just said that earlier. Oh, that looks so cool. Alright, I have a Master Ball. I'm fully prepared to catch this thing. I'm gonna just try and weaken it a little bit first. I just realized how little this cut is gonna do. But yeah, I was watching my friend MLG Jake's stream, and this thing just came across the screen. Glad I was able to actually find it during the Week of Legends. What on earth am I doing? Using cut on this thing? I'm probably just gonna go for like the frickin' Master Ball. But you know what? I'll risk it. While this thing is asleep, I'm gonna just chuck balls at it. What if I caught it in a dive ball? How sick would that be? I have like almost no chance of catching it one of these.
10 minutes of fumbling around later.
Alright, it's been fun trying to catch it in a net ball with 0 preparation. I'm just gonna Master Ball it. And welcome home, Registeel. The first of the 3 Regis to shine. I will be going for this whole trio at some point. Gonna probably keep hunting them until the end of the Week of Legends, which is still another day or 2. There's the normal one, and the shiny minty one. So cool. Gonna name it Colgate, because it's kind of toothpaste-like. Alright, so my good friend MLG Jake, Nature Quests Lax, and Alpha Zapdos, Nature Guesses Sassy. So let's see what it is. It's a Lonely. Alright, let's send this thing out into battle, and then check it out on the GameCube. Normal Tropius, very cool thing to encounter. Shiny Registeel. Awesome. And here it is on the GameCube. Looks pretty standard. Looks the way it should. That's always a good thing. Just like that Lugia, looks really normal. But yeah, thanks so much for watching and sticking all the way through this video till the end. It's been a pretty long one. I am drowning in video ideas, and thankfully I know how to swim. So hopefully I'll be able to wade my way through those or something. I don't know. Yeah, I just got a bunch of videos on the way. But anyway, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next time.